welcome everybody who's joining. Just hang on a few seconds as we let participants come in to the meeting. We'll go ahead and get started in a few minutes here. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our session on making Mustang Athletics part of your Cal Poly experience. My name is Jason Namany, Assistant Athletic Director for Marketing and Fan Experience for Athletics. My co-host today will be Luis Silva. He's the Assistant Director of Marketing. He'll be joining us in a few minutes, and we'll also have a special guest joining us in a little bit as well. To get us started, I just want to show you guys a quick video. I'll give you a little taste about what Cal Poly Athletics is all about. Switch back over to the presentation here. All right, so welcome once again. Hopefully that video got you as excited about Cal Poly Athletics as it gets me. I really wish we were watching games right now, but hopefully in the fall when you guys are on campus, you'll be able to experience some of that firsthand. A couple things just before we get too far into it. Just want to let you guys know, if you guys are looking to ask questions, there is a Q&A function. Please type in your questions throughout the program. Whenever you have a question, there's people on the back end that'll try and answer those questions as quickly as possible. And we'll also spend some time at the end of this session just going over any questions that haven't been answered or questions we think should be answered as a group live between Luis and I as much as possible. So again, welcome. Sessions about making Cal Poly athletics part of your experience when you get here on campus. We're going to go over a lot about Cal Poly athletics, what is offered, what facilities there are, what teams play, and more importantly, how you can get involved and how you can be a part or make Mustang athletics part of your experience when you're on campus. We really believe very strongly that a well-rounded Cal Poly experience involves more than just going to classes. Obviously, you're coming to Cal Poly to get a degree, to get an education, to help you move forward in your lives in the future. But we really believe that it's more than that. It's joining clubs, it's participating in intramurals, it's joining a fraternity or sorority, it's many different things. And one of those things we believe in is being a part of Cal Poly athletics. We feel like Cal Poly athletics gives students the opportunity to develop that school spirit, that school pride that maybe they can't get in other places. It allows them to develop a sense of community with fellow students going to games, with the student athletes themselves who are their peers who are competing and representing the school out across the country. And it provides an opportunity to go to events, unique, one-of-a-kind events, where you can make lasting memories that you'll take with you, hopefully for the rest of your life. I know myself, being a Cal Poly alum as well, I can think of many memories I had of going to games that I still talk about with my friends, things that I saw in person that, unless you were there, you didn't get to see them. So we really think it's important to make athletics part of your experience when you're on campus. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today and how you can do that. Kind of moving forward here. If I can get my slide to move. So Cal Poly athletics, we have 21 NCAA Division I sports. So Division I is the highest level of college athletics. So you're talking USC's, UCLA's, Cal, Stanford, those big schools you think of in California. Our teams are competing at the same level as those teams, which is the highest level of college athletics. A lot of those teams, our teams play them in competition every year. So when you think of athletics here, it is the highest level of college athletes. So getting to go to games here, you're seeing that top level at all times. So just kind of run through some of our sports here. You can see I broke it down by quarters here. Some of them overlap different quarters, but in general, our fall sports: football, volleyball, men's and women's soccer, men's and women's cross country. In the winter, men's and women's basketball, wrestling, men's and women's swimming and diving. We also have women's indoor track and field, though they don't participate on campus at all. And then in the spring, baseball, softball, beach volleyball, men's and women's golf, men's and women's track and field, and then men's and women's tennis. So lots and lots of sports on campus. Pretty much just about every sport that's really popular in the world is what we offer. And honestly, one of the absolute best parts about being a student at Cal Poly is that you can go to every single one of the games for free. So any game that happens on campus, which is every sport on here besides cross country, men's and women's golf, and indoor track and field, has games on campus. So as a student, you just have to bring your ID, show your ID card, and you get to go to any of these sports for free. So it's pretty nice perk. Something that I hope you guys will take advantage when you do get on campus here. As I mentioned, all of our sports participating in NCAA Division I. Most of our sports are Big West participants, so they participate in the Big West Conference. Our football team is in the Big Sky, wrestling is in the Pac-12, and swimming and diving is in the Mountain Pacific Sports Federation. Facilities. So you can see a few of our facilities here. We have other ones as well. All these are on campus. So Alex U. Spanos Stadium, that's where football, men's and women's soccer both play their home games there. It's kind of at bottom of the hill by California, or the end of South Perimeter Road. Again, you go there, you show your ID, you get into the game for free. Football games are huge. You've likely heard about the UCSB men's soccer game, which is sells out every year, is also huge. But there's other soccer games too that are pretty big and always a lot of fun to attend. Come with friends, and like I said, as always, it's free. Mont Athletics Center, right, kind of in the center of campus, right next to the Grand Avenue parking structure, across from the UU. Men's and women's basketball, volleyball, and wrestling all have their home events there. And then Baggett Stadium is where our baseball team plays. That's kind of on the far, I guess, northeast end of campus, out by all the ag stuff. You can't really see it in this picture, but just beyond, you can kind of see the lights in the background. That's where Bob Jensen Field, where the softball complex is as well. So baseball and softball are out there. Didn't have pictures of all our facilities on here, but we have others too. I mean, men's and women's tennis have a complex right next to the Grand Avenue parking structure. Brand new track and field complex. It's only, I guess, 1.5 to 2 years old now. State-of-the-art track out there for those teams that have 2 or 3 events at home every year. Swimming and diving has Anderson Pool, which is right next to Mott. And then we have a brand new beach volleyball complex, which is right behind Mott, in between Mott and the Grand Avenue parking structure, where our nationally ranked beach volleyball team gets to play their home matches now. That opened just this year, and we were able to have one awesome event before we kind of got shut down with all the pandemic stuff. But it's an amazing facility, and really all our facilities are great venues for you to come and watch games for free, as I continue to mention. One thing I just wanted to touch on too is just, Cal Poly is an amazing academic school, and you should be proud for being accepted and being admitted here at Cal Poly. I know, again, as an alum, I'm very proud of the degree I got here, and most people think of Cal Poly as a strong academic school, but athletically, we have been extremely successful as well. Programs have captured 35 team national championships over the course of our history, many more individual championships, over 150 team conference championships and hundreds of individual conference championships. We've had tons of players go on to play professionally. There's a few here on the screen. You can see Nick Zubnar is in the NFL. He was with the Chargers for a few years. Now he's with the Titans. David Nwaba in the NBA, played with the Lakers, the Cavs, Brooklyn Nets last year. And then Mitch Haniger, another example here, he's playing for the Seattle Mariners in the Major League Baseball. Also had 16 Olympians. So when you're talking about Cal Poly athletics, you're not just talking about this this add-on, to the school. It's a very prominent program who's had a lot of success on the court, on the field. So when you're coming to games, you're seeing athletes playing at the highest level of college athletics, and you're seeing a lot of athletes that are going to go on and play professionally or compete in the Olympics. So for the price of admission for you guys, which is free, as I keep mentioning, you're getting to see some pretty amazing athletics. So we really hope you're going to get involved and come to games and make it part of your experience, because you're going to get a lot out of it. And I think it's a great way to add to your experience here at Cal Poly. With that said, I think I'm going to turn it over to Luis, who's going to talk a little bit more about how exactly you can get involved with athletics and the various ways that you can make that happen. So Luis, if you want to hop in here.
Cool. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining our session. Like Jason previously mentioned, our Cal Poly teams do compete at the highest level of collegiate sports. And so you have an awesome opportunity to watch some pretty high level competition and see some great talent. So like Jason previously mentioned, all students get into every Cal Poly home game for free. So we really want to motivate you guys as much as possible to get involved right when you guys get on campus. Start attending the games and start building that school pride and that sense of community that comes along with attending and supporting athletics. And there's so many different ways to get involved. You can be a student section leader of our stand game, which I'll mention in a bit. You can become a member of our band. You can join cheer, you can join dance. You can join event staff and get paid to work our sports games. You can be a marketing intern for Jason and I. Shameless plug, but it does provide a great opportunity and experience for those interested in working in the sports industry. And it really does, your involvement really does make a difference to our student athletes and our teams. I know they really appreciate it. And when they're competing, knowing they have good home field advantage and having that student presence at the games is second to none. So really, really want to emphasize there's something for everybody. So don't be afraid to go out and get involved. And if you're sitting there thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to go to as many home games as I possibly can, I love sports, then you should definitely join our Staying Gang. Staying Gang is the official student fan group of Cal Poly Athletics. It's $10 to join, and you're a member for your entire career at Cal Poly. You get an official Staying Gang t-shirt, a sticker, access to exclusive giveaways and events that no other students or that non-members don't have access to. So how it works is every Cal Poly home game you go to, you find the Staying Gang table, which is the same place at every game. You give them your Poly card, they'll swipe you in, and you start accumulating points in our system. And once you reach a set amount of points, you start earning some pretty great prizes. Multiple gift cards to restaurants around the area, Amazon gift cards, cool Cal Poly official gear. So it really pays for itself, especially if you're going to be attending more than a few games each year. So just keep coming to games, start earning your points, and start reaping the benefits. And this year we are implementing our student section leaders, which if you were involved in your high school in your spirit group and being a section leader, very similar to that, where you'll at games, you'll kind of lead the charge and getting the crowd and the Staying Gang pumped up, supporting our student athletes. So yeah, this is for those diehard athletic fans, and really hope you guys join. And you can join over slow days and throughout the year once you guys get on campus. And our guest speaker today is our head coach for Cal Poly Volleyball, Caroline Walters. She's going into her second season as head coach, and last season made it to the second round of the NCAA tournament, so coming off a pretty successful year. And she's just going to touch on the importance of having a student presence and how much teams and coaches really do appreciate that. So without further ado, Coach Walters.
Yeah. Hey, Future Mustangs. Nice to meet you. As Luis mentioned, my name is Caroline Walters. I'm the head coach here at Cal Poly for our women's volleyball program. I want to start by thanking Luis and Jason for asking me to be a part of this, and just to everyone that's helped make this virtual open house a reality. You know, obviously, it's not an ideal time, and there's a lot of uncertainty, and with uncertainty can come, a sense of overwhelming. And when our team was overwhelmed this year, we told them, to focus on narrowing their focus. And for me, doing that in the last few weeks, I've been able to reflect really on this past season and a lot of our successes, but more what this school and sport has given me over the last 11 years. Luis mentioned that I've been a head coach now just for this past season and entering my second, but I've been here at Cal Poly for 11 years, and I've been able to coach my sister. She majored in child development here. Watched my brother graduate. He majored in construction management. I've been an assistant, obviously, for a few years, interim head coach, associate head coach, and now head coach. And I've also had the pleasure of kind of watching the evolvement of support of our athletic teams and just how that impacts programs. So, in the first few years, especially for me here, there were a fair share of losses. And thankfully, over the last 4, we've had a lot more success. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say that a good chunk of that came from what we like to call the Mott Magic, and it's a real thing. The Mott Magic this year helped us to the second highest attendance in California, right behind Stanford. We actually currently hold the nation's longest win streak at 32 matches, which has been amassed over 3 years. Our last loss was in October of 2016, and our 4-year aggregate record is 34-3. So a lot of good stuff going on in that gym. And to say we have, an at-home advantage would be an understatement, not only for us, but for all of our athletic programs. And it ultimately, is means so much to us to have your support at each of these matches. I'd love to be able to explain exactly what Mott Magic is. I mean, I'd love to bottle it up and take it on the road with us too, and hopefully get a few more wins. But in all honesty, you won't be able to experience it until you're in those stands and you feel exactly what that feeling is. And for me, it's a feeling of, I get chills when I walk out of my office, and 60 minutes before a match, there's a line around Mott and a line, up the stairs of students waiting to get in to our sold out standing room only Hawaii match. And beyond that, it's the huge smile I get on my face and just the racing of my heart as soon as I hear the beat of the drummer that he leads in, our marching band for every single match. And I can tell you it's a highlight of not only mine, but my entire program. The band being in support not only at our home matches, but they traveled up with us to the NCAA tournament at Stanford and helped us pull off a pretty crazy upset win over Georgia. So they're definitely, something that is valued in our community. And I urge any of you interested in that to find a way to get involved, and beyond everything, it's just an overwhelming sense of gratitude to the people in the stands, be it the community, the students, the people with body paint on, standing for match point. Something pretty cool that happened this year that I've never seen in a volleyball match. There was a continuous wave for about 90 seconds during a timeout of one of our matches. So, like Jason mentioned at the beginning, we're competing against the USCs and the UCLAs. We've gone to play them in the NCAA tournament the last two matches. And I can say without a doubt that the atmosphere inside Mott is second to none. I'd much rather play in Mott day in and day out with the magic surrounding us, than at some of those bigger schools. But in truly reflecting, on what Mott Magic is, Mott is a building. It's the building that we play in, but the magic is the people inside of it. So we truly hope that you guys will be able to experience the magic with us this fall. And until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, ride high.
Awesome. Thank you, Caroline. Appreciate you joining us and just giving us a little taste of what it means to have these students coming to your events. Moving forward here, I know a lot of people have been asking some questions and we've been trying to answer those throughout. I don't necessarily see any more that are unanswered at this point. Are there any other questions? If you have any other questions right now, we can wait a minute or two here. If you want to type in your questions, we can answer them live as they come in. I know a lot of people were asking about intramurals, and there was a link shared for that. There is a session about intramurals and club sports through ASI. That is, I believe, later today. I have to double check on that one. 5 p.m. today. There is a meeting today about intramurals. So if you're looking for that, 5 p.m. today. So okay, we're getting a question. Any wrestling clubs or combative sports? We do have an NCAA wrestling team. So if you're interested in, maybe joining that team, if you wrestle in high school, you can definitely reach out to the coaching staff there and see if you can get a tryout to walk on. I'm not 100% sure as far as club wrestling or club combative sports, whether that's judo, ultimate fighting, or anything like that. I'm not 100% sure on that. Again, if it's a club sport, it's going to be run through ASI, so it'd be something you'd have to check with them about that. So if you have any questions about that, I would definitely go to ASI with that. Looks like we're getting another question about surf club. There's, again, as a club sport, that'd be something run through ASI. There is a surfing club on campus, at least there used to be. I assume it still is on campus. So that's something through ASI to ask for them. Recruiting before or during the season. Does sports recruiting occur before or during the season of the sport? Would tennis recruit in spring or late winter? So a lot of the recruiting happens well in advance, honestly. So whatever your playing season is, and kind of depends on the sport, when the NCAA recruiting windows are. But generally speaking, coaches are recruiting for their sport while the high school season is in session. So whenever your sport is in session, that's when they're recruiting. At this point, as an admitted student coming in, and especially with all sports being shut down across the board, recruiting at this point is just happening virtually through conversations. So again, if it's something you're interested in trying out for a team, I highly suggest you go on our website, which I'll bring up right here right now. So gopoly.com. You go on that website, you can find any coach, his contact information. I would reach out to a coach for a team you're interested in and contact them directly about trying out for the team or trying to walk on and kind of go from there. It's like Travis, can you get a scholarship even if you redshirt on a team? Yes, that's at the discretion of the coach. So if you start out as a redshirt, eventually you could earn a scholarship. There's scholarship athletes that's still redshirt because, injury or some other reason they're not going to play that first year, so they want to save the eligibility for that person later on. That doesn't affect scholarship. That scholarship is totally at the discretion of the coaching staff. Redshirt doesn't play into that. Is there an option to try out for the soccer team during the spring? Again, right now, I don't believe there's going to be any kind of in-person tryouts with the given situation. As far as when teams hold tryouts, that's a discretion of each individual team, so it's going to be different for every team. I would contact the coaches directly. Like I said, head to that gopoly.com website, go to the staff directory. You can find every coach on there and talk to them about that. Same for Sydney's question about cross country. You can reach out to those coaches and talk about submitting for something like track or cross country. They're going to want to see your times, your personal bests, and they're going to want to see you run too. So I would get in touch with them and figure that out. So besides volleyball, what sport has the best record? If we're talking all time, it's kind of hard to answer that question. All of our sports have been nationally ranked at one point or another. It's just like all programs, ebbs and flows, who's at the top of the charts. Indoor volleyball and beach volleyball the last few years have definitely been our most successful in recent times. Our women's volleyball team, Caroline coaches, has been nationally ranked for 3 straight years, gone to the NCAA tournament 3 straight years, won 2 conference championships out of those 3 years. And then they also, beach volleyball, went to the national tournament last year, was well on their way to going in this year. They were ranked number 4 when the season was canceled in the country. And they were likely going to be going again and have a legit chance at winning a national championship when they get back. Baseball has been extremely successful. Football's had a few down years recently, but in their history have been very successful as well. Men's and women's soccer both won several championships, have been nationally ranked. Softball's been nationally ranked. Cross country and track and field, I'd say, are consistently the most successful teams. Unfortunately, they're not always on campus for you to watch them, but they consistently win conference championships pretty much every year. So very good programs there. So another question about swim tryouts. Again, that's something that you'd have to contact the coach directly. Phil Yoshida is the new interim head coach, or head coach Tom Milich for the last 14 years, just recently retired or announced his retirement. So Phil Yoshida is the new interim head coach. I'd reach out to him directly, talk to him. And even with that said, like I mentioned before, with this whole coronavirus thing going on, there's going to be changes to how things are done all the way around. So maybe in the past, a team has held an open tryout at a certain time. That might be totally changed this year just based on the coronavirus stuff. So like I said, get in touch with those coaches directly, find out the information from them for that specific sport, because it will change for each sport as you get it. So are games frequently streamed? Yes, they are. So pretty much all of our ticketed sports, which ticketed doesn't really affect you guys because you get in free to every game, but so football, men's and women's basketball, volleyball, men's and women's soccer, wrestling, baseball, softball, those sports are all streamed online. So you can watch them online, either, at home, maybe you're not in town, whatever. But like I said before, you get in free to every game. Being first year, you're going to be living on campus. Just walk down, watch the game live. It's always better than watching it on a screen if you can. So really encourage you to go to games in person. But yes, pretty much all of our major sports that play on campus are streamed and we're trying to expand those streaming capabilities to some of our other sports that haven't been streamed in the past as well. So that's just going to get more and more common. So that's all through gopoly.com. There's always links on the schedule. There's always a streaming link on the schedule for that sport. You can click on that. It'll take you right to the streaming site. So can you spectate sports off campus like golf? Yes and no. It depends on what the event is. So for like cross country, I mentioned, is not on campus. They don't do any on campus events. They don't do any events in San Luis Obispo. So if you wanted to watch cross country, you'd have to travel to one of their away events to watch them, but they do allow spectators at those events. For golf, it's kind of the same thing. They don't have a lot of events in the area. If they do, it's at Cypress Ridge in Arroyo Grande or at the San Luis Obispo Country Club. And when they do have those events, you can go and watch those events as a spectator. But there's just not a lot of home events to choose from. Usually it's one men's golf event, one women's golf event in San Luis Obispo, and everything else is on the road. So not a lot of options there, but you can go to those venues and watch if you so desire. All right. Any other questions? It looks like I don't see any more coming in here. So again, if you do have more questions, you can always go to gopoly.com. It's our official website for Cal Poly Athletics. Lots of information there. If you have something more specific, maybe when Luis mentioned band, you're really interested in getting involved with band. I know they've held some sessions during virtual open house. I'm not sure if they've passed or if they have ones coming up still, but you can reach out to the band directly at that email. Cheer or dance, same thing. Reach out to Annette. She's our director of spirit teams. Reach out to her at that email at the bottom. Find out how to become a cheerleader, try out for the cheer and dance teams. I believe they're holding tryouts up in May, virtual tryouts in May. So that's an option too. And then if you have interested in getting involved as a marketing intern, event staff, you want to know more about Stang Gang, you want to know about how to become a student leader for Stang Gang, definitely reach out to Luis at that email there. The ldsilva@calpoly.edu is a great option there. And then, yeah, if there's more things, anything you have questions about athletics, if you can't find on the website, feel free to reach out and we'll do our best to answer those. Getting a few more questions jumping in here. We'll try and answer those before we get off because we got a few more minutes. Is it possible to become a manager for teams like volleyball? Yes, that's another thing. It depends on the team. Some teams have student managers, some teams don't. Most appreciate it because they need the help. Again, for that one, same as what I've said for tryouts, reach out to them directly. Ask how you can become a student manager. Ask if they're interested in having a student manager. You know, they'll probably go through an interview process, ask what kind of skills you bring, what your experience is in that sport, because that always helps to know, and go through that process of vetting you and seeing if you're a good fit with their team. But definitely reach out. That's a way, definitely a way to get involved as being a team manager or a student manager for a team. Question from Braden: do athletes house in the dorms together or with their college? That kind of varies and has changed a little bit. I don't know. I honestly couldn't ask that or answer that question super specifically because I know the process for that has changed. I know teams try and keep at least teammates rooming together when they can, but not necessarily all in the same dorm. It might be in with their major or with their interests that they indicate in their housing applications and stuff. So how do students balance class and sports that travel a lot? That's definitely a challenge and something I really admire student athletes for. It's incredibly difficult. The demands on student athletes are big. You know, they're practicing every day, their weight room all the time, they're playing games, traveling for games, and then we're also balancing an extremely tough academic schedule. As you guys will know from Cal Poly's reputation, you know, the academic standards here are very high and our student athletes are expected to keep up to that same standard. So it is a challenge. for them, but they make it work. Very good time management skills. If they don't have them before, they learn them very quickly. And they get a lot of help too from their coaches, the coaching staffs. We have academic advisors that help them with their schedule planning and get them the help they need. The campus offers lots of resources through tutors, advisors, those kind of things, resources to balance the stress of work, classes, practices, games, that kind of stuff. So our athletes try and take advantage of as many of those resources possible to balance a very, very packed schedule for them. So, question about intramural basketball. That one, again, that one has to do with intramurals. So definitely follow up with ASI for that one. Same with clubs, still ASI. So chat with ASI at their event at 5, and they'll have more information for you about any kind of clubs. All right. Well, I think we're going to call it there. So again, thank you everybody for joining us. We appreciate you joining us for this session. We look forward to having you hopefully on campus in the fall, and go Mustangs.